Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Matt Bachus is here. Hello, Matt.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
Matt is a hilarious comedian, of course. He just did the Red Clay Comedy Festival. He also has a podcast, Hold My Bread, about how you can make billions this year in crypto. And so we're going to get to the bottom of that and what's the latest and everything we need to know.
I love Keith's elevator pitch for the guest. They're always horrified. It's like, well, that's not exactly what I said by hold my bread, but I'm sure you'll let me talk in a minute.
No, it's going to be exactly. That. It's going to be exactly. First of all, how's the new year shaping up? Matt Bachus.
It's been a little bit rough. I got broken up with recently, so that's not how you want to start the new year, but that's okay. I'm feeling optimistic about 2022.
Is that, do you ever get, like, when my ex-wife said, I want a divorce, I said, okay, that could have been a bluff. And, I blew it. Who knows? Were you told that way? And you went, it's okay. Like, damn it. It's not okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was playing a game of chicken and I lost. No, I truly was like caught off guard. I was really caught off guard by the whole thing. So, but she said all this things she had to say, and she was just like, I'm ready to move on. This isn't working. And I'm like, all right, well, I mean, it was hard to hear, and it's still hard to think about and to go through. And I've embarrassed myself a little bit, like talking to her, and it's just like, I guess it's just part of the process. I have a lot to deal with, so it's like, whatever.
You seem very confused. Did you think it was working and she explained how it wasn't? And did that did that make sense to you at the end of that TED Talk? Or
yeah, we were fighting a lot, and there were a lot of things that I don't know. I'm a little mad at myself because it's like I really feel like she gave me a lot of the tools to work on things, and she was giving me all these signs, and I wasn't doing the work. I wasn't picking up on things. And then it was just,
what are signs so that we're all looking for them? What are signs?
Well, she was just like, I would just catch her saying things that she appreciated and saying things that she liked I did when I did them, and saying things that she needed that were lacking. And I was, it's not all my fault, but it is hard for me to feel like I could have, this was preventable. Honestly, it feels very preventable, which is, I think, why I'm so sad, because it does feel like I'm like,
but you seem like such an expressive person. How would this not come out in your relationship? Why is that the thing? I wouldn't have guessed that that's what your problem might be. I mean, you look like you're mourning right now. I assume this is different than how you looked before.
Yeah, my all black sweatsuit and my hat that says "eat shit."
This is the stoner morning costume. As soon as you came on, or I came onto the Zoom, I'm like, oh no, he might not be with his girlfriend anymore.
Yeah. You could tell immediately.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of stupid. I had an audition today over Zoom, and this is what I wore. I don't think I'm going to get it.
What were you playing? Because
they were asking for a comedian. They were like, we want a comedian. So they just did an interview with me, but they were like, I had this hat on, but I had it turned so you couldn't see it. And
so you couldn't see eat shit.
So you couldn't see it said eat shit on it. And then they were like, all right, can we just do a quick profile? And so I turned this way, and they turned this way, and you could just see eat shit.
But that's funny, right? Like, and it's almost, if I was them asking you to turn, I'd be like, did he know we were going to ask him to turn?
Yeah.
Like, that's funny.
Well, and then they were like, stand up and take a couple steps back so we can get a full body shot. And I'm like, I have on sweatpants.
And the pants say, go fuck yourself. Yeah.
So, see, that's your problem. They expected you to be in your underwear at most because you're in a Zoom call and you're a comedian. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, then they asked me, they were like, who are your favorite comedians? And it was super fast. It was like 10 minutes. I mean, hopefully I'll hear back from them, but obviously it's whatever. So, but I don't know.
Say?
Yeah.
Louis C.K., Chappelle, like there's a lot of pressure there.
Well, that is one thing that did come up. They were like, who is the best live performance you've ever seen? And I thought about it, and I saw Dave Chappelle. I even said that. I was like, this is a controversial thing to say, but I was like, I saw Dave Chappelle in a theater with 4,000 people. And it was insane the way he like ran the room and the way he navigated through all the stuff. And it was just it really was incredible. So that I answered that way. And I was like, well, that might not be the right way to answer that.
I don't see how that could be wrong, because Chappelle is a great comic. This what people are addressing is something very specific, a specific genre of his jokes. Now, he decided to make that at least 20 to 40 minutes in this latest special.
20 to 40 minutes, an hour. An hour. I saw it.
But I think they're talking about that special and that topic, and it's like, dude, you're so funny. Can you recognize that this is your blind spot and move along, you know? But so I don't know. He didn't touch anybody that
And
we
some of
heard of.
those, yeah, and some of those jokes, I just think were not very good jokes. Like, just it
I think
wasn't.
that's
They're
the
just
point
not.
of people's criticism. I don't think it
Yeah,
was his outfit.
yeah, they're just not funny joke. The jokes are just like beyond what the subject matter of it. It's just they're not very funny jokes.
Well, speaking of blind spots, what did your girlfriend have to tell you that you weren't picking up on? What do you know now for the next relationship? Because this relationship, this was the real deal, right? You were talking marriage, in fact.
Yeah. We talked a lot about marriage. We talked about kids. I wasn't even sure if I wanted kids. And then with her, I was like, definitely. And then marriage for sure. I mean, I truly felt like I was like, I feel like I found a partner. I feel like we were partners. We were very, very close. We spent a lot of time together. I shared things with her. She shared things with me. I feel like we had a connection on a deeper level. And she just, I mean, I wasn't there for her a lot of the time the way she needed me to be. That was one of the big last fights we had. Is it was, the holidays are very hard. Christmas is very hard for me. And I was having a really hard time. And she reached out to me, and I just was like, I really can't be there right now. I'm really sorry. I'm struggling to hold on. I'm doing my best to hold on right now. And obviously I didn't say it as nicely that way, but
Like
I
you
wasn't
can't
like,
visit. What does that? Where do you have to be? Like visiting family, literally?
so yeah. So I went home for Christmas and she stayed here because she couldn't really afford the flight and she had all this work stuff. And it was just all these reasons, which I understood, but I just was like, I can't be there right now. I'm sorry. And I think that was just the final thing. So I guess I just need to work on being more selfless. And
Do
not
you
as
look like a
selfish.
loser because you can't afford to fly her? Is it somehow your fault? You know what I
No,
mean?
I don't think so. Cause I've flown her out before. I
Okay.
mean, and I offered like to try,
No,
offered to,
I'm missing something. You said, excuse me, but I can't be there for you. And she was like, then nah, fuck this. I
well,
don't,
she was like,
how
that's
did
been
you
happening a
say it?
lot.
How,
Well, if you want the truth, I was like having a very hard time being around my dad, like very hard time being around my dad. I don't have a good relationship with my dad. And so I was like spiraling out, and I took some Molly Christmas Day, and I was just like really freaking out, losing my mind. And I was just like, I can't be there for you right now. I'm really sorry. I'm just trying to hold on. I cannot help you right now. Basically that in a text. And she wasn't having it. And she was like, this is just another example of how I've reached out to you and you haven't been there for me. And she was like, I need somebody that's going to be a partner. And she was like, and if you couldn't be there, that's fine. But she was like, but I need somebody that can be. And it's like the kind of thing where it's like,
huh?
yeah.
Can you be there for someone? Because it seems like you couldn't be there for anyone at that moment. In
Yeah.
that way, can you even? Do you have that bandwidth?
But she also said, she was like, this is not just like a Christmas thing. She's like, this is a thing that's happened before. Like we've had, and she was talking about like, I went with her to Thanksgiving and we fought on Thanksgiving. And she was like, even the holidays can't bring us together. She's like, we were fighting more than we weren't. And it's like, that's true. We were fighting a lot, but it's also like, I didn't think it was something that wasn't, there was no part of me that thought like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. We'll
This
get
is
through it.
It seems like guys tend to be more on this. They tend to be surprised by breakups. And it's like, yeah, we were fighting more than we were happy, but is that a reason to break up? And it's like, I don't know what's sweeter. Like, hey, I said I'd be here forever, so I will. Or listen, you said you'd be here in a very specific way, and you're not coming through. Keith, you were surprised by your divorce or no?
No. Yes and no. No, because I imagine we both were thinking, all right, we'll really get this back on track soon. And not today. I'm not into a conversation today, but something's going on so soon. And then we just did. And then she brought up a divorce. I'm like, okay, surprised me, but all right.
Yeah, you never came around to trying to work on it, but you came around to getting a divorce.
Yes.
Like that became on the schedule because the other thing kept dropping.
Right. Did you try to be there for somebody more, Matt, and it didn't matter at that point? Were you embarrassing yourself thinking, let me keep trying, but she was clear it's done?
Yeah. I mean, I was not handling it well. I'm not like blowing up her phone or, I'm not like causing problems, but it's like, it's just been really hard. And I really do feel like I told her, I was like, I'm having all these realizations, like, and it's just like too late sort of thing where it's like, I should have done this, this, and this. And I guess it's easy, hindsight and all that, but
that's offensive because obviously I know more than a totally new guy does, Right?
You have accumulated knowledge that you haven't been using, but now chose to, so she should take you back.
Now you told me what you needed. Now I can give you. You don't think that's better than a brand new guy?
Well, and the thing is, I told her, I was like, look, I'm not asking you just to get back together with me. I was like, I just would like, let's just date me. Let's just date for a little bit. And I will show you that I can grow and I can change and that I can do these things. And I was like, just give me the opportunity. But I went to go give her keys. And it was like, I mean, it makes me sad to talk about right now because I could just see in her face, it was just gone. There was nothing. It was gone.
That's funny because my ex kept crying when we were, cleaning up the house or this kind of thing. And I'm like, but you said it. That upset me more. I'm like, now I got to console you. So I'm sitting there hugging her and holding her. And I'm like, you did it.
Well, I mean, she was like, this is really hard for me. And she's like, I'm also going through a breakup. And again, this is maybe just me being
I go, right?
selfish.
That bitch surprised you too. That's what I told my ex.
She was like, this is also, she's like, I know that I ended things, but she was like, this is one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. And she was like, wow. This is not easy for me. She was like, I'm going to go through a breakup too, and I was like, I just don't understand how you've decided to end it. And then you're also sad. I mean, again, that's just maybe me being selfish or me not being empathetic enough. But does it affect the play of the stock market? Does somehow you get in a weird head and you got to be a millionaire faster now and teach her a lesson? Does it affect you like that?
Is everybody else interested in this math that Keith has for relationships?
I could see it. You watch weirder movies, you eat shittier ice cream. Do you make bad stock decisions?
Honestly, I haven't really been doing much with stocks. I've been looking at crypto and looking at like all the other stuff, the NFTs and things like that.
Right.
As far as stocks, there's a couple electric vehicle companies, but I haven't really been as active as I was recently. But that's the thing we would do together. And like, I got her to buy some crypto and I got her to buy some stock stuff. And I was always like kind of helping her decide when to buy and when to sell. And now, I mean, I guess that's over with. I guess she's got to figure that out on her own now. She's just got to hold on to she's going to hold on to the crypto or hold on to the GameStop stock forever. I don't know.
She decided when to buy and when to sell. Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
You taught her.
My stock dropped a lot, apparently. Big sell-offs.
On the show, and I'm a listener on your podcast, you haven't done the podcast in a bit, first of all. And so I'm a little nervous about that. Yeah. You did it in November. You did a 15-minute show saying how the show is still going to come back. And then Keith Malley, shouldn't be too worried. And so that, is it because of this relationship that you just haven't been on top of stocks? You don't think you have much to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it's just been hard to get myself motivated, and I'm doing the podcast alone now, which, I mean, I'm not very talented, so it's very hard for me to do alone. It's just been hard. There's just been a lot.
Why isn't Joel into the podcast anymore? What's his deal?
I don't know. I just don't think he wasn't feeling it anymore.
Is he in cahoots with your ex?
No.
Okay.
No, he got a new job. He's working somewhere else, so he's fine. He just stepped away. I knew it was going to happen, so it was fine.
Oh my God, what a tough start to your year. Are you getting help?
I have therapy. I go to therapy.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's working. I don't know if I like it.
Did they find a hang up that you have that you're supposed to work on, or are we not there yet?
No, I don't think so. My therapist he just kind of listens. Like, he doesn't really, he doesn't talk a lot. He just kind of listens. Sometimes I feel like he agrees with me too much. I was talking about this breakup stuff, and I don't know. It was fine. I just feel I'm fine. I tell my
therapist right away, I have to leave with one pithy saying or you're fired. Each time I need one stupid little saying.
Yeah, I need something. So
I'm like, I don't think we did anything today. And they go, well, sometimes hate will keep you going, but sometimes they'll just kill you first. I'm like, all right, you're good.
That's good. Yeah. Well, my girlfriend helped me find this therapist.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Well, her therapist found him for me or whatever. So
I don't know. Go ahead, Keith.
I was going to say, in the show, you talked about you consider yourself semi-retired because of the GameStop stock.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's almost $20,000 a year free money. Was that a turnoff at all to your girlfriend? Like, you think this is a windfall and we're going to have kids on this?
No, I mean, I don't think, I mean, it could be, I don't know. You'd have to talk to her, but I don't think it
Okay.
really bothered her. I had a lot of free time and I feel like we did some cool stuff and, you know, I paid for some dinners and things and I don't know. I think it was cool. It was
Keith, neither
fun.
here nor there. If you thought that was a lot of money, would Kyle feel I think
She'd be
you feel like
nervous.
I feel like if she wasn't nervous, then you would look at her funny. Like you expect your girlfriend to look at you funny in certain ways, or to step it up, right?
Oh,
Like
there's no way to win. Yeah.
Well, I think, damn, what was I going to say? Oh, I mean, it's also like, while it wasn't a lot of money, it was the most money I've ever had in my life.
Sure.
And I have gotten I was already very good about living with nothing. So it's like, if you give me a little bit more than nothing, I'm going to stretch that out. Like I'm going to make that work.
Right.
So it was fun.
Yeah, I remember there were a lot of girlfriends that they didn't like that I didn't go to college. And I'm like, but we work at the same place and we're making the same money now.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
And in fact, you're working less because you have to go to college. So I'm paying for things. So there's nothing like getting a lecture and paying for dinner.
That's one. Yeah. That's one thing that one arc in my life that I have noticed change really greatly. Like I remember being in high school and everyone's like, you have to go to college. You have to, you're going to ruin your life. You got to go to college. And I was like, I'm not going to go. I'm not fucking going. And so I didn't go. And then time went on. And then people were like, it is so smart that you didn't go to college.
Oh, wow.
You don't need to go to college. You don't have any debt. So smart you can go to college. And I'm like, wow, I was being beat over the head by everybody in my life about you have to go, you have to go. And then now it's shifted to good for you for not going. And now they're like, we got to forgive student loan debt. And I'm like, we can't do that because if they forgive student loan debt, then I just become another idiot that didn't go to college.
Right.
I didn't go. And now everyone's like, you're so smart. But if we forgive debt, it's all I don't have is, you know what I mean? Like
all the people checking boxes just out of spite.
Yeah. So it's like, so I've seen that whole arc change where I feel like I've dated multiple girlfriends that are like, I can't believe you didn't go to college, made me feel bad about it. And then now it's come full circle to be like, this is good for you. You don't need it.
This is so weird because I've never had it once from a partner of mine. I can't believe you don't have a degree of some sort. Not one time. No one's even ever asked me if I graduated high school. I might not have. Never. Not one question. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Those guys don't care about your future like that.
No, I mean, I guess that's why my parents thought they were right because they were.
What do you have recurring stock dreams? Do you ever wake up, you're a billionaire, oops, you're not, or vice versa? Anything get in your head like that?
No, not really. I mean, I do have like, sometimes I will like have dreams about like when that GameStop thing popped off back last January. Like I do remember how that felt waking up that morning. Like I remember that. That was amazing. Sometimes I replay that in my head. That's really nice. But other than that, that's about it.
All right.
I had a dream yesterday that like I left quarantine and I was in this public space and then I'm like so excited, but people are distant and it's fine. I feel safe. And then two people show up and they're like, oh my God, it's you. And they hug me without like, and in the dream, I'm like, I am, oh no. Like I was so, and it was so real. When I woke up, I'm like, I have COVID. It took me seconds. Like it took me a while until I woke up and I'm like, oh, I wasn't even out. Wait, is that sad or good? Ugh.
Yeah.
For 1 minute, they're like, but it takes forever and they can't run away. Awake. She's in molasses. Yeah.
I keep having the waking up and then forgetting I'm not in a relationship. Like I keep waking up and looking at my phone or like looking to text her or waiting to see if she texted me. And then for like the first 30 seconds I wake up and I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, that happened. That's real.
Oh, that's heartbreak.
It's getting better, but it's like, there were a couple of days where I'm like, oh yeah, fuck.
It's funny that happens even when you don't like the person anymore, when you're like, okay, this was definitely a good, but like that instinct to go text someone when you're doing something innocuous, that you get into that habit during a relationship. Like think about people in relationships, think about how much you text your partner, like things that if you did that after you saw them for the first time, they'd be like, holy shit, you fucking stalker. I get it. You picked up milk. Oh, are you coming home now? Holy shit. Is this a play-by-play?
Right. Oh, did you see something that reminded you of me?
Great. Is that a picture of something else in your day? Wow.
Yeah. Do you still follow her on social media? Do you have to curb that?
No, I don't.
No problems. Okay, good.
She blocked me on Instagram, and I got really
Oh,
upset
that's
about
good.
it.
That made it easy.
Well, she goes, I was like, why did you block me? I was like, what do we hate each other? And she was like, I didn't block you because of you. I blocked you so I wouldn't look at your Instagram.
Right.
That's smart.
Which I'm like,
and
I
it's
didn't
nice
really
to hear.
think
You're
about
like,
that.
because it makes you cry.
Yeah. Is it making,
Like,
are you
yeah, a
too
little
sad
bit.
to look at my
Okay.
face?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
it's fucked, man. I'm just going to be sad for a while, but it's fine. I'll make it out.
You know what? Somebody please count how many times Matt said he's fine in this episode. I think
Right.
we're gonna call it Matt is fine or I'm fine, because I think if I was your therapist, I'd be like, you said I'm fine after every item you told me. Ding, ding, ding. That's a red flag, I think.
Do you think I'm fine? I mean, I wouldn't say it if it weren't true.
I think there's a
Yeah.
Aerosmith song about how fine you are.
Yeah.
You said during that 15-minute thing, you said, and then so we'll record. Tell me what kind of things you want to hear. What kind of things I want to hear. I want to hear my stocks are doing good. What do I want to hear? But he said maybe we'll do a show on edibles. Imagine that's the show. I don't realize he's on edibles, and I start taking down stock tips.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Doge? Well, I'm an elephant. My thoughts are, like, okay, I guess that's a turn of phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to like have some fun, because I do have some people that listen to the podcast that are very supportive and they're very nice and they send messages, and it's like, I would like to give them things to enjoy and I don't know, have fun while I'm doing it. I just see all these podcasts out there. People are having a good time. So it's like, I want to try and make something for myself, carve out a little,
All right. When do we
section.
expect the next episode?
End of the week. The end of this. No, not the end.
It's
End of next
Friday.
week. Yeah. Yeah.
The end of
Monday.
next week.
Monday.
Monday what? This Monday?
I'll put a new episode on Monday.
Okay.
Which Monday?
This coming Monday.
The 10th?
Uh-huh.
We're going to look for it.
I'll put it out. I don't
you
know what
promise?
it'll be, but I'll put something out.
The 10th?
Yeah, because you know what? This is what I'll do. Sports betting is legal in New York on Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start making some bets on Sunday and Saturday. So maybe I'll do some sports betting recaps or something.
What's your
All right.
sport?
I mean, I'll bet on anything. I like betting on basketball and football. I bet on some soccer matches. It's fun. UFC
When did you
is
get
very
into
fun.
this? When did you get into this in the first place? When crypto started, or do you have a parent or a friend that got you into it in the first place?
Into what? Into gambling?
Saving and gambling, quite frankly, but yeah, stocks, that kind of
Well, my
thing.
mom has always worked at a credit union. And so I feel like I've always been pretty financially literate from a pretty young age. Like my mom had worked at a credit union for a very long time, had a savings account. I think I talked about this once this is the best advice I have to give really is there's this thing called the 52-week challenge, and you can look it up. But it's like every week you start it with like $1. The next week it's like $2. The next week it's like $3. And by the end of it, you have like $1,500 saved. And it's just a drop in the bucket every week. But by the end of the year, you've saved money. So I've been doing that for a while. My mom got me into that. And, I had money in my savings and I was like, my money is just sitting in my savings. It's nice. But it's like, if I educate myself, I can maybe make this into some more money. And so I kind of got into it that way. And then crypto, and it all just kind of built. And then gambling, I think, is just fun and funny because it's like, if I lose money in the stock market, people are like, oh man, tough break. The markets are hard.
Right.
But if I lose money on a basketball game, everyone's like, what did you think was going to happen? You jerk off. It's like,
Right.
all right. I mean, they're basically the same. I mean, one is more educated than the other maybe, but they're both, it's all gambling. At the end
How
of the
bad
day.
are you at the gambling when you're watching sports? Because if I've watched sports with Keith, I mean, the commercials and the food, but I noticed like any chance he gets to bet, he'll bet. So it's like, oh, there's a coin flip. All right, who's betting on the coin flip? Oh, first down, second down. How many, the kicker, is he gonna make it? Every single moment. What the cheerleaders, is somebody gonna drop their baton or something?
Yeah.
Are you that bad or that good?
No, I'm not super into like crazy props like that. I'll usually just do a couple. I like to do parlays. A lot of people don't like parlays. They say parlays are like real gamblers don't bet parlays or whatever, but it's like, I have hit on some big parlays. Like I've bet
Do we know what a
$20.
parlay is?
Three weird things win.
Yeah, it's just like one
bundle.
bet you tie together. So it's like you basically can pick as many as you want.
Oh, a bundle.
I'll usually do 2 or 3, and if all of them hit, it pays out huge. But if you hit 3 out of 4, you don't win anything. But it's like I've bet $20 on a 6-part parlay. $20 paid me $2,000, and that's the odds of that are very small. But it's like I've hit I've hit big on some parlays, and if you know what you're doing, it's not impossible. You know, people make their livelihood gambling on sports. It's not easy and it's not likely, but every once in a while,
but somebody does it. Every once in a while, somebody wins the lotto. It's not easy and it doesn't happen often, but $1 in a dream.
In Hidden Gems, that guy was doing a 87-step parlay.
Yo, like I'm not kidding you. I was watching that movie before we started this podcast.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that's like such. I tweeted about it today where I was like, everybody watch Uncut Gems and get ready. You got to get the vibes right for Saturday because gambling's coming.
So. I actually watched Uncut Gems, and I was it was anxiety. I was anxiety ridden the whole time, just the whole time. And you know what? I had reason to, which they proved at the end, which I won't tell you. But like,
yeah.
They had a Jewish family dinner, and it was very stressful, very stressful.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
My dad tried to get me into understanding the stock market, in that it was one of his jobs that he had that, he didn't know what he was doing, but he sold mutual funds. And so he convinces me to sign up. So I do, with a little bit of money. Then I'm in my 20s, maybe actually I'm 18. I have my first apartment and I needed some of that money. Not much money is there. I think I took out $20, but I had to. Not an hour goes by, I get a phone call from my dad like, "Oh, you took money out. You should leave that." I'm like, "Oh, you can see what I do." And that was the end of investing for quite a bit. I didn't know we have conversations on this.
My mom worked. My bank at the credit union my mom worked at. So my mom, I don't think she ever, she always respected my privacy and all that stuff, but it's like, she could, if she wanted to, she could look at what I was doing whenever she wanted, see what I was spending money on. Right. I don't think she ever did that at all, but she could have. So
what's legal and not legal when it comes to your podcast, Hold My Bread? Can you, like, you're clear that you kept your Doge. How clear are you allowed to be? You mentioned how many shares you have. You have 25 shares of a GameStop you mentioned on a recent show. When does it become illegal? I don't know the rules. Can we get everybody to follow us on something?
I don't know the rules either. I basically just am, I just am very clear in that, like, I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just telling people, I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible and be like, this is what I am doing. Like, I don't think that's a crime. I could be wrong. I think I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying this is what you should do. I'm just saying these are the things that I'm doing. And it's like, look into things for yourself. But I think
things for yourself. I do follow what Matt has to say, because we happen to be in the same camp. We like to make money, but maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you want to make a different kind of money Matt's making. Like, I don't know your lifestyle, and if that's the case, don't listen to Matt. That's how you do it.
Right? Yeah, and like I said, I don't know the rule. I haven't gotten any letters from the SEC, so I think I'm doing okay so far. But it's like, I'm not trying to break any laws or anything. I'm just trying to make some damn money.
Who's the best economist going today? Who do we trust out there? But still exciting. Like, still smashes a watermelon.
I don't know. I think Jim Cramer. I think Jim Cramer's a criminal. I don't think he's
the one
good.
that throws chairs while he gets.
Yeah, and he has like big
stocks.
Buttons and yeah.
My father, when I this is wow. I guess it was over a decade ago. Every time I was over their place, he was watching this dude, and he became like a big time guy because he would just he would throw his chair.
Yeah.
Why is this? Throw the chair? I don't even know what he's saying, but it's like the BAM of this boring information. Yeah. So
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is he a criminal? When you say criminal, what do you mean?
I just think he's just like he's full of bad advice and bad picks. Like I saw somebody had compiled a list of like whatever, a certain number of things that he had recommended last year, and they compared his advice, or whatever, not advice, but his like opinions on it versus what they actually returned. And if you had followed him, you would have lost, $80,000. Like, you would have, he's giving bad advice.
How much entertainment points would you have accumulated? Because
probably none.
I don't tell you he threw a chair. What else do you want to watch? Wrestling?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just think he's just like, he's one of those, and nothing bothers me more than when people are like shills and they pretend they're like, I'm one of you. And it's like, no, you're not. You're a guy on a TV show trying to get eyeballs, trying to like mislead and maneuver. And it's very shisty. I don't like it.
Well, I see in football too, announcers guessing who will win. They all got it wrong. They all, picked a safe bet. They all get it wrong. And then they go, join us after the game for more analysis. No, you're fired. Yeah. You don't get to analyze anymore. You can say Antonio Brown took his clothes off. That's where your guessing ends.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So while I was listening to this, I'm not like a big Joe Rogan listener, but I did listen to like when he has somebody on I'll listen to like Lex Friedman or like
this is so funny. There's so many more caveats when people are like, I listen to Joe Rogan, like not a lot, but like, when these three people are on and also the 5th of every month, definitely. But
Tim Dillon,
I'm like a fan, but like, let's just be honest. I don't agree with everything he says. Anyway.
Yeah. With all that preamble out of the way,
he said that I got the boost.
I have ivermectin on me right now. But he was talking about how when he would call UFC fights, he was gambling on them, which I didn't know. I didn't know you could do that. Like, I don't know. That seems weird. I just thought that was interesting because you brought up sports broadcasters, but I think it's very funny he was like, announcing these UFC fights while also betting on them. That seems, I don't know. I don't know if that I don't know. I'm not saying that shouldn't be allowed. I just didn't know that was allowed.
Well, I mean, he's not a referee and and even those announcers where they're like, oh, that was a bad call. That doesn't mean anyone gives a shit.
Right.
But does he give out information so that the public, thinks the gambling or the sharks would think there's some kind of, it leads one way and he knows in actuality, he was just talking shit so that the numbers go a certain way and then he can win bigger.
I don't see how he has influence on the numbers.
You just make shit up and then people are like, oh yeah, this guy isn't doing good. Hey, so I'm blowing a donkey in the back.
Well, that's how the odds get made and shit, like the public, there's a thing called fading bets is when you fade the public is when you bet against the public, because it's like, if a lot of people bet the favor, like the favorite, then the odds for that are going to go, it's going to change the odds. So it benefits you because the swing of the pendulum is disproportionately.
Speaking of Keith, should I ask you about this? How's your annual bet going for the Steelers to win the Super Bowl?
Every year I bet $100 that the Steelers will win. It's not looking the greatest right now, but it is possible. And that's something we say in the stock business as well. Anything's possible. It's
possible. You just need a couple things to happen. One of those being my Indianapolis Colts need to lose, which they cannot and will not, I hope.
Yeah. I mean, one of the top stocks now is a store that sells games. Nobody buys games. They download it. Here you buy physical games. So you know what? Anything could happen. How about that?
Well, GameStop, they're pivoting to NFTs and cryptocurrency. They just announced it yesterday. That's why the stock popped off kind of hard the other day.
And I think everybody listening knows all those words. So in succession, we totally know what you mean.
Exactly. And nothing more needs to be said about it.
Yep. Fully understand.
What do we think about these NFTs? You own something and you don't even get to touch it. How fun is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I did VR. My stepdad had VR, has VR, and I did it when I went home, and it's cool. It's fine. I don't know. I didn't do any of the metaverse stuff. I think it's going to take some time. Obviously, I can see it over there. You have the Oculus. That's what my stepdad has. So it's cool.
I'm going to say that I'm going to figure out what you just said. You said I'm fine at least 3 times. So you're not into NFTs, I assume.
Nah, not really. I don't know.
Okay.
Not yet. I mean, I'm sure it's very early. It's so fine. Early. It's like very early for all this. For crypto is still early. It's all just so early that it's like it's fun to be excited about, but I'm also not gonna.
Do you want to play poker? Because I feel like I have all your tells now.
I am very bad at poker.
No. You're fine. Are you fine?
I'm fine at poker.
There we go. Let's play.
Perhaps you heard about the woman who has been farting into jars, sells it. She happens to be hot, right? The ugly ones. We don't need ugly farts. She was making about $50,000 a week.
What?
But she ended up in the hospital because her diet gave her too much gas, and she got deathly ill.
I did hear that though. She was on 90 Day Fiancé.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that show.
But now she does have NFT jars, so that for her health.
Okay. Are we still here on Earth? Like, are we still doing this? Everything's okay. Yeah, Matt said everything's fine. So that story totally makes sense, checks out, and I'm
just that dog in that meme come to life. The dog in the burning room that says it's fine. That's me. Right. This is my burning room.
At one point,
I have a couple NFTs, but that's it.
What do you got? Come on, what do you got?
I don't have any of the boardroom apes or anything like that. I just have a couple like NBA Top Shots.
Come this right. What are any of these words? You don't have
I
any
don't
of the apes. Yeah, you don't have the apes or anything like that, right?
Yeah,
right.
I don't have
I
any
didn't think you were Rockefeller, but
Yeah.
you have some of the top chefs. Nice. That's
NBA
cool.
Top Shots. They're just like virtual basketball cards. I have a couple of those.
Oh yeah. Can I
That's
tell you
it,
something? This might piss you off. I'm thinking about those cards right now.
Yeah.
Didn't cost me a fucking thing. I'm enjoying them. I'm turning them around 360 in my head. Oh, nice.
You don't even know what they look like. How can you do that?
It keeps changing as I'm
It's
looking.
an alley oop. I have an alley oop. I have a steal.
You know what? I just Googled it and I saved some of the images. I have it too.
Yeah,
Not the
got 'em.
same. It's not the same.
No, of course not.
This
Fine,
interview is
though.
over.
You're finally got all the things I pretend I have.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have
shit.
on my little bookshelf back there. I have a bunch of old Pokemon cards. Those are like real life NFTs.
Well, I know what those are. Those, yeah.
Oh, now we're doing real life NFTs. Is that how we're reversing our language? That's funny because now when I see people on skateboards that don't have any electronics in it, I'm like, oh, look, they're going old school.
Analog.
Yeah.
30% of Americans would give up sex for the ability to retire immediately, says a survey.
Oh, what are you retiring for though?
Yeah.
Then
take
what?
it. I'm too sad for sex. I'll take it.
Okay.
Sign me
Five
up.
more
When you
minutes.
catch
You're
'em.
gonna be so upset. Yes. Post breakup, ask people this.
A poll of 2,000 adults commissioned by a financial firm, found that people were so stressed out about money that they would forgo everything from drinking to hookups to friendships to get more of it.
To friendships. My
Yeah.
God.
They'll retire and not have friends, even if that was the wish.
What's the point of retirement if you're just going to be alone, sexless, and
Yeah.
Oh my God, Keith! I said heads up when there's bummer news coming. That is the worst thing you could have said on the first week of the fucking year. Happy
Yep.
January 7th, everybody. You're all willing to give up the actual things that matter on people's deathbeds because there were scientific experiments on that too, right? People were asked on their deathbed, what was the last thing? And it was never money. It was always that other stuff that they wanted to, that they hoped that they would pay more attention to. Good. I'm glad where society's going to.
Well, the good news is there's not going to be kids, I guess, after that we have to worry about because they're not going to be being made.
they were
By the
always
way,
money.
what's that?
I said, who will get your money?
Right.
No kids.
Yeah, no, but I'm not convinced you can take it with you. What do you think of that? You're telling me about NFTs and the dragons in your head. I got a feeling you might be able to take it with you.
No.
Yeah, I mean, by the time down the line, who knows? Maybe when you die, they'll just put your consciousness in a robot, and then you'll be a robot.
Yeah, and then somebody can buy the idea of that. Yeah.
Mhm.
A British lawyer lost a harassment suit that he filed after one of his coworkers asked him to stop farting in an office space that they shared.
Oh my God, it's the fart show today.
So this went to court. An employment tribunal found it was reasonable for his coworker to ask him to stop passing gas, although the lawyer said, I won't spit in your sandwich, that we just took each other to court and I'm allowed to still fart. Okay, no problem.
I don't know that you could tell someone to stop farting because if you're going to fart, you're going to fart, but maybe you can ask them to leave the room for a second. Spare us all. Like, it's like asking someone to cover up their mouth when they cough. Like, do what you can. I'm not asking you to stop sneezing, but maybe don't do it onto my face.
Right.
Great news, honey. You know that court case about me farting? It's the medication. We won. Yeah, well, I lost, and here's my luggage. Get me the fuck out of here. I see today that Andrew Cuomo is having a VR hearing, long distance virtual hearing about one of the women that he sexually harassed. Chris Cuomo, of course, was the CNN anchor, his brother, that looked up women that said she harassed the brother to find if there's any, dirt on the woman to discredit her in general. CNN didn't like that because he was using their resources. Then he got fired, if you remember. Then it came out. There's also something they didn't share. Chris Cuomo is a sexual harasser also. And there was at least more than one sexual assault, blah, blah, blah. Now, Chris Cuomo's CNN producer at the time has been caught trying to get underage girls and fuck them to teach them about sex by going through the parents.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What?
Those
So,
words
you're
were
not-
even
when
crazier
you
than the
work-
words I used.
You
You
just said sex trafficking, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
what
that was
you
a
just
lot of
said?
words to just
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah. So I guess it's like when it's not foreign, it's like, hey, they asked the parents consent. What?
He tried to get young girls to his Vermont ski house. This is the producer of Chris Cuomo's CNN, but it's all of a bunch of sexual bullshit going on over there. His name is John Griffin. He's from Stamford, Connecticut. He used messaging apps to befriend and persuade moms of young girls, saying that, quote, a woman is a woman regardless of age, and that they need to be trained sexually.
Ugh.
And this guy's a CNN producer. You know, they like to
And the
think
mom
of
heard that and was like,
the
when you got a
times.
point, you got a point.
Right.
Gross.
Who are these moms? Because I understand why he's doing it. I don't understand why they are.
Well, you don't want your daughter to look like an idiot when you find a good man. You know, you want to know what you're doing in the bedroom.
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
that's the truth.
Imagine a
telling
grown
you.
man says he wants to train your daughter. You're under arrest, sir.
Holy
Which it says
shit.
business. They need to know, and I will train them. I'm respectful. I don't even need a
Ugh,
picture. Some of
they
these guys
do.
need pictures. I don't even need pictures. I'll even train people that you wouldn't buy their farts from them in a jar. Those are the people. I'll train anybody. Okay, you let me. You know what I mean.
Wow.
44. Got at least one mom of two daughters to bring the girl to a ski getaway in 2020. The girl was 13 and wanted her daughter to be, quote, trained properly.
Oh my God.
When does it become against the law?
Why isn't that? That's not against the law?
I mean, yeah, of course it is. Of course.
Oh,
it is.
okay. What? And then what? And then
Well, luckily they found out. Father himself, Griffin, sent the woman $3,000 for plane tickets so they could fly from Nevada to Boston, where he picked them up in his Tesla for a ride. It was there that the daughter was directed to engage in and did engage in unlawful sexual activity.
oh my
Griffin
God.
attempted to entice two other children over the internet into sexual activity, according to the indictment. And then it's like other girls who have been taught. And he can put that one girl's picture up. Let's see. He happened to favor apps like Kik and Google Hangout, if you're curious.
Look at the balls, like just
He
leaving
can
your
also
receipt everywhere.
he can also do a virtual training session. So you can show up naked and he'll do things with you naked virtually also.
This is not making me less depressed.
What is
it's not
the
chin ya. Chin up.
what's
No,
the
this is a real
wording that
bummer.
he's using to like sell this? How oddly
He's training them. He's sexually training them in a classy way. Think about the first time you had sex. Probably not pleasurable. He wants to make sure you understand what it could be.
oh my God.
Yikes.
Let's see. He told another mom of a 16-year-old that she should take a little mother-daughter trip to his ski house and that he can help train the child. He calls himself a father on his Twitter feed, appears to have 3 young children of his own. He worked at CNN for
Appears
almost
to?
9 years. He appears to. They're like, I see 3 children in the picture. He appears to.
What? Oh, they gave
That's
up by
enough.
the end. They're like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you got the meat, and
You
I have
got
to
the-
close this up. In conclusion, he might be a father. Is that really significant? Holy shit.
Right. But what do you? Oh my goodness.
I know.
Then you try to find that stuff out on the first date. Like, you ever send your daughter to a sexual training session? But then you don't want to look like a creep, so these people don't get caught because you don't know how to ask.
You know what, Keith? Mothers are so overwhelmed. Like
Yes,
sometimes
really is the
you
hardest
just
job.
you need a little sleep before you make a decision. Maybe eat a little nosh.
I gotta clean the tub. I gotta pick up my kid's shoes. The daughter, she's 14. She needs sexually trained. That's for sure.
Oh
Just
my God.
it's
Piano
all piling
lessons,
up.
sex
Piano,
lessons.
yeah, it's too much.
All these lessons.
Good
Oh my God. So wait, so I have to start thinking about like what do they think training is? Like, do they go back in their sexual history and go, I wish I knew how to blow someone before I blew someone?
Yeah, everything. So there's no embarrassment. Yeah.
Like, I think part of it is embarrassment. I mean, that's
How
not
to-
the most disturbing thing, but
I
part of
teach
it.
them they can say no during sex. In fact, I'm going to fuck your daughter now. And I'm inside her. Okay. Now, I want her to say no, thank you. And she says, no. And then 2 more strokes and I stop. And that's, you learn to take control.
13 years old. I didn't even kiss anyone yet.
Well, you didn't have advanced training.
Right. Oh my
God.
Yeah.
But wasn't the kissing awkward?
Is that what was happening in these etiquette schools? Because the rest of that shit seems very unnecessary.
Yeah. Every time you come in, it's like, oh, you're teaching them silverware again. It's like, they can't be teaching silverware all day.
Right.
Yeah, we all know where the fork goes.
Yeah, we know. Well, here's a fun one. You ready for a fun one?
This is gonna
that was a
worse.
Disgusting one. This one's a fun one.
Okay.
A Florida man was busted with bags of cocaine and meth wrapped around his penis. He said they're not his. He doesn't know how they got there.
Florida has the most fun ones, don't they? They seem to.
34 years old. He was in a friend's car. He's in the passenger side. It's 4 a.m. on a Saturday. The driver was traveling without his lights on. He was pulled over. He was arrested for DUI and marijuana possession. Then they found a gun under the passenger's seat. That's when they checked him and apparently got to his penis and found meth and cocaine that was not his.
Okay, first, always check your headlights if you're going to travel with drugs tied to your penis. That's, first rule, right? What kind of training did you get? That's weird.
Sometimes it's hard to tell if they're on.
How much did he put on his dick? Because he's a shower, not a grower, huh? Unless it took a Viagra and then fucking put it on there. How much real estate is there? I mean,
he does real big balls.
Oh, it's on his balls, not his dick. I keep picturing it on his dick.
I'll put a picture of him up, but his mugshot is like, there's a big smile, like, I did that. It was on my dick.
Yeah.
On my dick.
I've got big balls.
Yeah.
He happens to have arrested in the past of cocaine and crack cocaine charges.
Then he should know better. He's like, oh, this time it'll be on my balls.
Yeah, they're not going to touch my dick. You're not gay, are you, officer?
Right. It's kind of gay what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
We used to, I remember having drugs in high school and putting them on your dick, like putting tabs of acid and stuff.
Where?
Like kind of
Not
in the front, like down
on
the front
tip?
of your, not on the tip. I would have said tip.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Shaft? What are we talking?
Yes, kind of, yes.
To take the drug, to ingest.
You like, this is your dick and this is your waistband. You like tuck it between
tuck it.
Yeah.
You put it up so that your dick's next to your stomach almost, right?
Yes.
And then there you have a piece of acid sandwich. Then it takes.
Yes. I mean, no, it was just transportation. It was just a security. It was just it wasn't like let's drop acid and we definitely put it in our mouth afterwards.
That is what I was confused by. I thought you were doing acid via your dick.
No, yeah.
Because there's a while where like people were putting tampons in like vodka and sticking it up their cooch, and that just makes it burn.
Does it?
According to a TV series I watched where the kids tried that, they were all jumping in the pool from pain.
But you just got to stay hard though, or your ass is gonna fall out your pant leg. You keep you're walking around looking at porno just for this transfer.
Crime makes me horny, so it's very easy.
I love getting away with shit.
Yeah.
All right. Let me mention this. BetterHelp. Take notes over there. All right, Matt. BetterHelp. Better HELP. It's therapy. I use it. Kevin uses it. And Matt does not. So think about it. Okay. I love them. I love BetterHelp. Get a therapist in under 48 hours. They're committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches. They make it easy. And it's fantastic. I didn't know what it'd be like. And pretty eye-opening.
I said this before. I was seeing someone through BetterHelp, and I was like, 1 or 2 sessions ago, I don't think we're a good match, but I didn't want to tell her directly. You just click a button, pick another person, and start with them. Now, compared to this other process that I went through, the insurance, I waited weeks, and then I got matched with someone who I didn't get to even look through. It was just like, oh, here's one of the people that's available in our, umbrella of a situation. And I gave it a chance, like about 4 sessions. And I was like, I contacted the main people. I'm like, hey, can you switch me with this therapist? I don't think we match. They didn't ask why, they didn't anything. They're like, why don't you talk to your therapist about that? And I'm like, no, you don't know if my issue was confrontation. I got to get on another session and go like, no thank you. Holy shit. So yeah, but I think a button is a little bit easier.
Yeah,
Get
definitely.
10% off your first month. BetterHelp.com/KATG. In fact, go to keithandthegirl.com/coupons. You'll see all the sponsors right there. Big fan of everybody. I love everyone more than the next, I tell you. But yeah, I think you'll dig BetterHelp. All right, so big news. Hold my bread. We'll be back this Monday. January 10th. We're all very, very excited. Okay, and this is how you start your new year when it comes to because I mean this guy's fucking semi-retired. Would you like that? Right? You don't got to give up kissing even. You can still kiss people and make this money. So I'm very excited. Do parents or friends, do they hound you for advice? And it's annoying because they're going to blame you even if they promise not to.
Yeah, it is kind of annoying. It's like the kind of thing where it's like people want. It's like with sports betting picks too. It's like anytime you give somebody something, if you hit, they're just like nice, and if you're wrong, they're like you fucked me. It's like all right. Well, I can't be responsible for only the losses. It's not.
You should just tell them to listen to your podcast. At least you'll get the download. And
that's exactly what I do. I'm like, just listen to this, or I send them the link, or nice. I'm like, I'm not giving you advice, or I don't give advice. I just figure it out. I did it. I'm stupid, and I figured it out. So
that's my advice.
Yeah, my advice is I'm dumb. You're probably smarter than me. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out quicker than I did.
That's a good way to get out of anything. Like, you know what? You're probably better at this. Okay, bye.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. Can you teach me? And they're like, actually,
that's like, funny.
Well, Matt, it's good talking to you again. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for letting me come on and be sad.
Of course, look at the year like stock, right? And we're starting very, very low. I mean, we're lower than dirt and worms, right? So now we can only go up the rest of this year. So maybe 2022 is the year for Matt Bachus.
I hope you're right. We'll see. I feel good. I'm trying to be optimistic. I feel good. I'm going to go. You guys have inspired me. I'm going to get out of my my sad outfit. I'm going to go take a shower. Really clean up my life.
Literally.
Is there any interest of dating at all?
No.
Okay, that's what you say. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, truly no. I'm so sad. I just keep and I just just sucks so hard.
Unfortunately, this is exactly how you get chicks sometimes.
Yeah.
And I use that sentence very specifically.
Yeah.
That's how to get chicks.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like, they're gonna be like, let's bang, and I'm gonna be like, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can even get me to bang again.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm too sad to be horny, but I'll try.
Don't forget about voting for the KATG Awards. That was the last show we did. Also, you can find all the awards we've ever done throughout the year. Throughout the years, keithandthegirl.com/awards. But make sure you vote now. We're going to give the results and call up the winners next Wednesday.
12.
And also, we are now at the finals for the best new guest. It's narrowed down to 10 people. Take a look at all that, keithandthegirl.com/forums. And we'll talk to you soon.